The game of life is neither simple, black, or white. Russ will discuss from a closet psychologist standpoint the complexities of understanding game objectives and challenge each person to establish their objectives before they enter into the relationship or the leadership roles in their lives, and to fully understand the results of their objectives, including projecting the unintended consequences that might result. Russ Farmer speaking on leadership, understanding the objectives of the game. Understanding the objectives of the game. Russ Farmer.
Good morning. In keeping with the theme of soccer, for 14 years I was heavily involved in the Broomfield Soccer Club. 4 children, 2 to 2.5 years apart of each one, starting with the oldest and finishing with the youngest. I became a certified coach, a licensed referee, and a member of the board, more properly the president of the board of the Broomfield Soccer Club for quite a number of years. One of my concerns, and the reason I got involved in the soccer program, was out of desperation. Actually, it was out of a desire to make a change. What was happening in the Broomfield Soccer Club was the creation of teams that were stacked at a recreational level, were stacked by coaches such that they could successfully blow out teams for years and years and years. Didn't seem to feel right at the time. So one of the things I did when I became president was to change that. I sort of felt like Tip O'Neill, or more properly and currently Harry Reid, forcing through legislation to change the structure of the organization. We had 600 players in that program, various age groups. And what I was successful in doing was creating new rules that would require at the lower age groups a complete reshuffling of all of the players every year, so that coaches could not start out with their 6-year-olds and go up through 12 to 14-year-olds with stacked teams that would continuously blow out other kids. Because the objective of a recreational program was not about winning. It was about developing skills of 600 players. It was about creating a passion and an enjoyment and having fun. At the younger age groups, it was not unusual when I was refereeing a game for a player to come up, game score 3-0, 4-0, little kid would come up and say, "Who won?" They didn't know. They were having fun. They were learning. They were playing. They were enjoying themselves. The objective of that game at that level, in that environment, was not about winning and losing. There's a competitive program that's about winning and losing. At the end of the season, it was not unusual for the coach to go take the team to Dairy Queen, have a blizzard, maybe a picnic, handing out little ribbons, sometimes little medals, sometimes trophies. Didn't matter whether they were winning or losing, they got these. And then you had the closet psychologist that started ranting. So what are you teaching these kids? You're rewarding them for doing nothing? You're rewarding them for losing? What's going on here? Oh, that's pretty powerful. That is pretty powerful. Is that what we were doing? We were creating these kids to become dependent, of not being rewarded, of not being personally responsible. They were going to grow up to be on welfare because they could get something for nothing, right? Well, anecdotal data does not support that contention. All 4 of my children have been pretty darn successful. They went through that program. They got rewards. We got boxes of trophies down in the storeroom, and it didn't impact them at all. So what's going on here? Step back and look at the psychology of games. And what we see is that there is, in fact, a spectrum of the psychology of games. On the left, maybe politically speaking, there's winners and losers. If I mention to you the word game, typically what it conjures up, card games, video games, sports, games where there are winners and games where there are losers. There are very clearly defined objectives. The objective is to win. On the recreational soccer program, that was not the objective. But in games, as we interpret them, as we see them, as we play them, the game is typically, the objective is to win. But the game of life is an intricate, interrelated series of games. If played properly, it can be incredibly enjoyable, exciting, and incredibly rewarding. But it's not about winning and losing. Capitalism, free market capitalism, is all about winning. No, it's not all about winning. It is about creating a win-win environment. Stephen Covey, in his 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, one of those habits is synergize, create win-win situations. If you step back and you look at the business world, what you see is businesses that win because their employees win, they're excited because their customers win, because they get good value, and it grows and it's successful. It's not about winning and losing. You don't create a long-term successful business by cheating the other guy. You create a relationship that produces true win-win environments. So how does this play out in the real world? Let's look at some examples. War. War is about winning. As Bertrand Russell, the British philosopher, said, war is not about deciding on who's right, it's deciding on who's left. Okay. Marriage, on the other hand, is marriage a win-lose game? To a lot of people, it is. But if we look at this at an entire spectrum, we say on the left is about winning and losing. On the right is about synergizing. And the real world cycle someplace in between. It's important and critical for leaders to understand what their objectives are. Is their objective to win and lose, or is it their objective to synergize and create win-win relationships? In the political spectrum, Bob Beaupre just became the Republican candidate for gubernatorial position in the state of Colorado. The Tancredo group says, God, I'm not going to vote for that guy. I'm going to sit on the sidelines. What's their objective? Is their objective to create winners and losers, or is their objective to synergize? And what will be the unintended consequences of establishing those objectives? Ooh, that's pretty powerful. That's pretty powerful. The unintended consequences could be a Democratic Senate remaining, a Democratic House, and a Democratic governor. Is that what you really want? As you start your individual lives as leaders in family, in your community, give some thought to what is your objective, and more importantly, what are the unintended consequences? Thank you.